Okay, we are live, everybody. Thanks to Nemo and Sam for being here. We may have some other people join later on. You just never know who might pop in. So you guys did it. You made the trip to Temple, Texas. You made the trip to Heritage Auction. Let's hear about it. Let's hear the stories. Take it away,
First, I will say that we have not a 9-part video that is up, and I did some premiering, so there was some chat room, but it basically starts from day one, which for us was Thursday morning at Mike at 3:45 a.m. and it goes all the way through the Heritage viewing. So it goes up all the way through. Hopefully that will give you some context, because I forgot about on Sunday that we hadn't told anybody we were coming. And so I was like, we found it. And everyone was like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. So basically, we saw some of the emails that have recently come out and from between Jack and Forrest. They were the ones prepared for court. And the one email said, and it's in the one video, Jack said to Forrest, I'm looking for a column that your father did, Marvin, on a fishing column for the Temple newspaper. It was in the 70s and 80s. Does that sound right? And his response was yes. Well, that was enough for us to say, why don't we go investigate a little directly? Because, we haven't been to Temple, or I hadn't been to Temple, so I needed to go to Temple. So that's where it all began. And then we had the idea, or I reached out to Cynthia and said, can you ask LLC? It might be good for them from a PR standpoint if we were able to see the treasure chest. And so we knew it was a long shot, but by the time we got off the plane, we knew it was going to be on Monday. That was the one thing, and we were shocked. But then it turned into a bigger thing, which I thought was fantastic. So that's how that viewing all came about. We were there and we said, could we? And then they thought it was a good idea. So they actually, it sounds like they did a couple of viewings that day. So that's it in a nutshell. So you can watch the videos. What did I miss, guys? What do you think, Sammy and Nemo?
You did it pretty good.
Yeah.
For what we were doing into going to view everything. I thought it worked out pretty smooth considering the credit apps were a little brutal, but I'm not going to complain, believe me.
So what questions do you have, Mike? Because that's really, everything's in the videos. So we believe on day 3, I think it was, that we found an article that references Brown, the name of a fish with the capital B. It talks about a fishing hole. It talks about being on the Madison. It talks about the rock. I know some people have asked, can I actually read it? Because it'd be a lot on them to read. So yes, I will actually read it and upload another video, because that's what we do. We provide information. So I'll be happy to do that.
That's what I thought we were doing here, but that's okay.
Oh, we can absolutely bring it up.
Well, I wouldn't say read it word for word, just recap, like paraphrase. What do you think so it's about his dad. These are the fishing logs from Marvin Fenn, right?
No, they're fishing articles. That is, some of them are, what's a fly rod? How do you select one? What is that? It's a fishing column that was done weekly, kind of like let's see, Dear Jane or Myrna's Housekeeping. I don't know. What's a weekly column out there?
Outdoor.
Yeah, the outdoor. Okay, so it was every
Manor,
Sunday.
Whatever her name is.
Huh?
Okay. Yeah, I get it. All right. It's exactly, Old and Bold said, this isn't specialized knowledge, right? It's exactly specialized knowledge.
Oh, 100%.
Let's talk about that. What do you guys think? Do you think Forrest straight up lied, or do you think he just misremembered, or do you think he didn't think it was specialized knowledge?
It wasn't specialized knowledge to him. I don't know if that was his play, but everybody else in the world should have been specialized. I've heard people say, well, if you were a fisherman, you would have known this. It's common knowledge. I'm not a fisherman. Neither are most of the people.
No.
And I think he was even asked that question, and he just kind of did one of these. Well, I think, I think it's special. I think the whole thing's specialized knowledge personally. But
I think somebody asked him, and I'd have to find this, but I think one of the questions was, do you need to know anything about fishing? Like, and he said, no, not at all. And it's like, yeah, you did. So not a great way to, not great clues for a treasure hunt. That's for sure.
Well, and let me be clear. Some people are like, oh, she's out back forcing 9 Mile Hole. I'm giving you my opinion based on data we're seeing. I don't like 9 Mile Hole as the answer, just because it is specialized knowledge. It didn't get you to an exact location. You had to wade over water. So I'm not the proponent of 9 Mile Hole. I'm just kind of putting out my opinions. I know lots of other channels are saying I can have my opinion. They're not allowed. It's just our opinion. It's okay to have an opinion. Could it change? It's something, it could change. There's just more evidence than not for me. And this article helped us as well. I know Nemo's having spotty connection.
Yeah, I absolutely love 9 Mile Hole, as you all know. I still can't believe it, but the thing I wanted to do in this trip is I wanted something to tell me why Jack could spend 25, cumulative days there. And I think I found that. I think honestly, and I hate 9 Mile Hole, by the way, but if I'm Jack and I'm even sniffing around about the Madison, I'm married to 9 Mile Hole forever. I'm not leaving. I don't care how many days it takes. So.
Yeah, and Nick, did you know that 9 Mile Hole is on Nez Perce Trail? When Forrest asked me where my solve was, and I said Nez Perce, and he goes, Nez Perce what? Trail, creek? And I said, no, it was the war, the last stands on the war. And he's like, oh, now it explains to me why he asked me, well, Nez Perce what? It's like, oh, it's on Nez Perce Trail? I didn't know that.
But is the articles, and you guys tell me, I'm not going to read all the articles. Is it just the generic home of brown, or is there a particular brown trout that his father was talking about in the column?
He talks about chasing the big fish, and it's a whole story about him chasing this fish named Brown on the Madison, and having to go upstream and struggle and all that. And
so it's a specific fish.
It's a specific fish with the name Brown with a capital B.
How we're supposed to know that from just reading the poem? Even
no way.
The thrill of the chase, I don't understand. I don't know.
I think it was a very generic answer. I mean, it was Madison Junction, take it down that canyon and put in at 9 Mile. I mean, I think it was that generic. If the blaze wasn't been broken, I think it would have been solved in a month.
Well, a searcher reached out to me, and this is a long time ago, 6 months or a year ago, and I hope they don't mind me sharing it. But when they read the first stanza, they looked at it as the treasures new and old were fishing lures. If you read that whole poem in the context of fishing and a fishing lure, then it makes a little bit more sense. It was exactly about fishing. I mean, so is this the logic? And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Jack catches the slip up in the interview where Forrest says, my favorite, and then he stops, right? And it was, well, fishing hole. So then it becomes, okay, if Forrest hit it in his favorite fishing hole, how do I find out what his favorite fishing hole is? Well, it's probably a fishing hole his father showed him. And is that why Jack researched his father's column and his father's fishing logs?
That's what I believe. I don't know how he got a hold of it, but go ahead, Nemo.
I was just saying that what I don't know is, did Forrest intend for the solution to be to whatever 9 Mile Hole was?
Oh, you're cutting out.
And what was the broken blaze? You guys remember? What are we guessing that the blaze was at 9 Mile Hole?
So there was a tree that had a lightning strike in it, like on the page that has the horse named Lightning with a white streak down its face. That was the tree that fell over that Rudy found. That was exactly at where the hole, or some believe was at the hole. Rudy did a whole video on it. Anyone?
Right. But somebody recently asked me, but aren't all the trees, like, don't they all have marks of lightning? So is this tree stood out? This would have been the only tree in the area?
It would have been the only tree with a large lightning strike on it in that area. I've been to that area. And the unfortunate part is, after a tree gets hit by lightning, it's more susceptible to these certain insects that infiltrated that area, and the tree fell over. Why Forrest would pick a damaged tree would be a little surprising.
To me, it's surprising you pick a tree at all. I mean, especially a pine tree. There's examples all over Yellowstone of pine trees just tipping right over from the wind. So, I mean, to me, if he expected that thing to last more than 5 years, I'm surprised.
I hate to say it, but I think part of Forrest wanted it to fall over. Part of Forrest didn't ever want it found. He wanted it to last 900 years. And maybe that's why he said somebody could find it tomorrow, or it may take 900 years. I think he knew it was crafted in such a way where it never would have been found. And we'd still be, for years and years, we'd still be trying to find it, talking about the poem. I don't know.
It's clear to me from what I was reading, especially if you look at the totality of this. There's 3 articles that I saw. One, the big one Capro got, which puts you on Brown, and shows you rocks, so you could kind of hone in on the Madison where. But if you take all that, I just don't see still. I see why Jack said, that's it. I'm here. I'm never leaving. But the rest, I don't understand. Like Forrest said, if I told you the home of Brown, you could walk straight to it. Well, yeah, you could, I guess. But you would think that this poem had a direct result that it to that Blaze. From home of Brown to Blaze, I still don't quite understand that.
You just had to look, I guess.
That's the twist. Like Forrest told me there was a twist at home of Brown. The twist was if you go over where Forrest said that's downstream, you're going up, but then you have to go back to go up the creek. And that's where so you have the twist there is you have to make that turn. And so that was the twist, if you will, whatever that means.
The other thing Forrest said though was once you get in the area where the chest is, you'll see something that you didn't think about before. I mean, I've been there and there's nothing that stood out to me to say, wow, that's, I didn't think of that, and I thought that's.
Well, just like specialized knowledge. I don't know.
Exactly. Right. Doesn't mean Jack wasn't looking there and Jack didn't figure it out. But I mean, if you've been back there, it is a Lincoln log maze. Like I threw all my Lincoln logs up in the air. They landed anywhere. And I had to get up, over, around, under, everything you could imagine. And Forrest at one point, if I remember, said from a certain distance, I don't remember what it was, you'd likely see it. I honestly believe I've been there. Unless you are literally standing over it on a log, okay, or you happen to jump over that log and walk right on it, I don't think you'd see it unless you were a foot away.
Well, you solve, it was in Yellowstone. You had to dig to get it out. Jack used a metal detector. I mean, there's about 20 things I don't like about the ending, but at least for some, this is some evidence that either makes it a little bit more likely that it's 9 Mile Hole, or you're never going to believe it's 9 Mile Hole. Either way, I just think it's more information. That's why we shared all the articles that we found, because I haven't read them all at this point. There was the one that we found that we thought was the one that Jack may have found. And we only got through like 5 years. There's still many years to go. But yeah, and I don't think we're the first to find it. I think some of the searchers that were a step ahead of us, they found it. And if people shared more, then we wouldn't have to do this. Searchers.
I agree with what you're saying, okay, bro. If Jack came across this information and he was already thinking Madison, he would have done it by hook or by crook. Metal detector, I don't care if he had to take a chainsaw. At some point, he would have said, I'll do whatever it takes. And it looked like it happened with Forrest. Are you telling me I should dig? I want to do anything illegal? Yeah, because the guy was highly motivated from probably.
And that's why he grid searched, Jack. I mean, he knew it was the area. He just had to go back and forth why he grid searched.
So did you search the one pole aside from someone? Yeah. Holy, we did. We found, I think, an article. I don't know if we found that. No, I know we didn't find that particular article. We did pull. So there was one that was missing out of the big file cabinet. And of course, I think one of you guys went and sleuthed it out and found that it was behind the desk. We searched it there. I don't think there was an article in it, but we did search it.
So Nick asks, how much time needs to go past for Jack to come clean with zero repercussions? Do you guys think in the agreement with Yellowstone officials, there was a, 10 years, 5 years? You think Jack can ever legally come out and discuss it?
I don't know. I don't know. Because whatever he gets, would that be the amount? I don't know. It says, K-Pro, did the chest meet your expectations, whatever that means? The chest, I will say the chest, Sam, I would love your thoughts. The chest was fantastic because especially in the back that still had dirt and grind in it. The chest was pretty amazing. I wish we could have had it open. I tried, but they said no. The most impressive piece to me was that big gaudy necklace. It doesn't do it justice on Heritage. There were so many pieces. It was so intricate. I was so impressed by it. But what do you think, Sammy?
I think that was my biggest surprise. I thought that thing, no big deal. Oh, that's what Forrest meant by the jewels. And then when you see it in person and those jewels glint, it was spectacular. It really was. Gaudy as heck, but it was spectacular. And I know this is going to sound as soft can be, but when I stood next to that chest, weirdly enough, it felt surreal. Almost like sometimes if you're playing, say, in a big soccer game or something, time slows down right when it's the most important. It felt like that for a second. Like, holy smokes, all this history, all this talk, all this debate. And here I am separated by a piece of glass from it. And you felt that. You really did. And I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Just the ability to be there and see it, it was quite an honor. And I appreciate the LLC letting us do it, of course. But it was very surreal because you spent like 10 years looking for this very thing. And now it's right there, like you said, behind the piece of glass. And, it was just unbelievable. It was amazing.
So that's it, right? There's nobody else that can go see it. That was that day, and then by appointment only or whatever, and then that's it. Yeah. So we did get a super chat. 3D Bronze says, K-Pro, quick question. When you saw the chest, was it W3T? I'm still waiting for someone to tell me what three things. Yes, scissor bitter, cut it out. So 3D Bronze does have a free treasure hunt called What Three Things. So I'll get a link, or Hooli or 3D Bronze. You can put a link in the chat to your video. And Adam K says, you will see. I don't know what he means. You will see what? The truth? Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I will say, just like any searcher meetup, there was lots of talk about, this was the cool part. The group that came together were so different in networks, even like Sammy and Nemo, they're kind of like the poker crew. And then Rudy he came with a guy named Full Press, and then Ben, and then Copper Dan. Everybody had their group that they had been kind of talking to. So there hadn't been a lot of crosstalk. So some things got confirmed and this and that. So it was interesting to hear everyone's like little bits of information that what they think is coming, and Shiloh's put out some pretty interesting words through Candy. There's Epicness coming and all of that. So I mean, I have a feeling this isn't all. We're just not going to go into silence and the auction happens and then we're all done. It sounds like something is afoot. There was lots of discussion of what it was and lots of conjecture and all that, but it sounds like there's some interesting stuff coming.
So K-Pro, are you saying that for a fact Copper Dan is the LLC?
Copper Dan did get invited and he's mad at me, and I'm sorry. He did tell me he was invited to the VIP one earlier, and I thanked him in the video for hanging with us commoners. And he's like, no, people are going to think now I have some. I'm like, well, I was complimenting you. I'm so sorry.
Where's Copper Dan?
He has a family event. He's going to try to join us. And come on in, Copper Dan. I got some questions.
So Doug Denny says, where can I read this Marvin Fenn article? Well, Doug, you would have to travel all the way to Temple, Texas, and go in the library and get out their microfiche and search for it for hours and days, except you don't have to, because these three people right here went and did it for you. So if you look at the videos that I'm about to share this link, you can read it yourself. It's right there, black and white, and you can make your own decision on if you think it was related to the spot where Forrest hid the treasure or not.
Yeah, so Idaho Buffalo said, I from today, 7 hours ago, asked if you saw the 9-clue video, would you believe it? So I did not mean by our videos to trigger some people. Some people are very upset right now. And one of them was Why I Must Go. He's done a video and commented like a lot on our videos. And I just asked him, what would be enough for you? If you saw Forrest going over the 9 clues, would you believe it? Or would you still say, absolutely not? I don't care if there's a video. Like, for some of you that aren't believing, what would be enough? And I mean, some, and I think he's one. There was somebody on our trip that believed the same thing, that all of these emails that were submitted to court, Zoe is trying to protect the area and she's ready to go to prison for it. And that's possible. I just don't think it's probable for me. I'm not downplaying anyone that believes that everything has been made up. Yellowstone, they paid Yellowstone to intervene because it really wasn't in Yellowstone. All the emails are made up, all that. Maybe, I'm not going to knock you for your opinion, but so my question on that to why I must go was, what would be enough? Would a video of Forrest going over it, would that be enough? A video of Jack finding it in 9 Mile Hole, is that enough? I don't know what is enough. So that was my question to him on the YouTube video. Davio asked, who was the high influencers? Did they have their own party? I don't have all that information. And that's actually why Jens and I Jens wanted to wait for the people he knew was invited. Like, he wanted to wait for Matt, but I said, we don't know who's gone to what event and doing what. We knew Matt and Amy. Amy from her social media, Matt had told some of the searchers that were there that he was coming, but they seemed to have an earlier, like a VIP event, which was, great. I don't know who else was there. I don't know anything about that event. I'm not even going to comment other than it went up on social media. That's one of the videos, because the pictures were then taken down pretty quickly by Amy and then put back up after they had been, I don't know, photoshopped or whatever. And you can go on Discord and see all the conspiracy theories. It seems to them that they were done on different days, because if you look at the reflection, the furniture is different and things. I don't know. I see what they mean by there was pictures put up, then it was taken down. They were altered. I don't know what it all means, so I don't care enough. It wasn't what I was involved in, so I'm not going to comment.
And I'll just say, the LLC bought it from Jack. They can do what they want with it. They can let 1 million people in to see it, or one person. I don't know why we complain, but at least they're auctioning part of it to where people have a chance to buy it, but they're only doing it for money. Right. And they can do that because they bought it and they own it. They can do what they want with it, guys. I don't understand the complaining, but that's just me.
I felt appreciative to be able to be there. I don't know if it's, it could have been more fair. Could have all this been done differently. Could have, lots of could haves. I felt appreciative for being there. And that's why I wanted to get stuff up as quickly as I could and just share it. That's what when I kind of pitched this to Cynthia, I said, I'm with Sam and Nemo. They're not like my minions. They're actually, Sammy's been on the other side of our heated debates at times of 9 Mile Hole. So he'd be perfect to go in. And that's why I pitched it to them, because it wasn't like team K-Pro to see it. And I just thought it would be good for other people to see it. Nomadic Madman asks, am I bidding on the jar? No, from what I understand, the bidding is going to go pretty high from what I understand. There's some networks maybe involved, if you believe all the hype, and there's searchers that have a lot more money than me. No, was Justin at any of the events? No, he was not. Or the events that I went to. I didn't. Did you see Justin?
No. If I did, I was going to tell I'm shooting to get the jar from them. That's a joke. And I bid one time $10,000 and people said, were you crazy? I said, well, if I get it for $10,000, I'll gladly pay that.
Right.
But I'm not getting it for $10,000. And within 3 to 5 minutes, I was outbid.
Yeah. I think it's
at now. Does anybody know?
It's at 19,000. And it sounds like from Shiloh's comment to Candy, and she shared the actual screenshots, that the family was not able to pre-bid on any items. I guess he's going to just have to bid just like everyone else at Heritage. I don't know if that's concerning the olive jar or not. I thought it was super interesting. It doesn't seem maybe there is in lockstep as maybe the LLC thought by nobody took Justin's words, or you guys tell me, or I'm sorry, Shiloh's words. Did anybody take Shiloh's words as positive? Like Shiloh saying,
Well, But again, it works both ways. The LLC owns it and they can do what they want. They don't have to do it.
Right, but if you say you're in lockstep with the family and the family speaks out,
I get it.
I'm not saying it like makes anything.
And what does family mean? Does that mean Zoe? Does that mean Ann Shiloh? Was it just, you know what I mean? There's nuances there. Of
That's pretty good pickup, Mike. That's exactly what I thought. Does lockstep mean Zoe, Shiloh, or everybody?
It's obviously not Shiloh by his.
I bet Zoe's like, yeah, sell it, get rid of it. We're done dealing with it. And maybe Shiloh wasn't privy to that. So Shiloh's like, hey, I would have wanted to go or whatever. You know, who knows? I'm sure Shiloh will let us know how he feels. It seems that's what he does from time to time. So Sassy is saying, I watched the video, but don't see any mention in the article of Homa Brown or Mr. Brown or 9 Mile Hole. What has you convinced it was the article?
The fish was named Brown. It didn't have Mr. in front of it, but Brown. He went after Brown, capital B Brown. Talks about being on the Madison, talks about being where the rock is, and then the fishing hole area. That was enough for me when you add it all together. And that's where he was chasing the fish. Then he was chasing this big fish.
I mean, the story about chasing that fish was like a mini movie. Or, I mean, he went into great detail. This obviously meant a ton to him. Every dive, every pullback, every single piece of what happened was just like a mini movie. And it obviously meant a lot because he remembered that. The thing I was shocked at is, well, not shocked. I was just trying to figure out. Capra a lot of times will pull up an article and say, this was in July. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell did he get this printed in July when he's in Yellowstone? So we came up with two things. I think someone told Capra that it's not uncommon for these guys to write ahead of time, right? I thought that's what someone told us. And then the other thing I was thinking, well, maybe it was a telegram. And there was a telegram office in 78 up in Mammoth. So I mean, maybe he did that. I don't know.
So it said I was on the Madison November 12th, and this was November 17th, like same year. So that means he did something, or he called it in. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And to be clear, people are asking, the video that shows Brown is part 6. Article Jack references in his email to Forrest. That one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just put it in the chat, guys. You can watch it when we're done going live. Go watch it yourself. It's only 4 minutes.
So Davio asked, did you all go over the stick? So Rudy was there. He had his cool little shirt that said, ask me about my stick. So he did.
Did he bring it? The actual
He
stick?
brought the 3D one. He does not travel with the regular one. So
Got to be in a case and everything.
So he had actually posted on Discord in October 31st, the stick and the replica. No one noticed until middle of December or early December, which I thought was funny. And he found the stick. He knew the spot, so then he just circled out. He said it didn't take long because he knew that it was only a couple feet. Now, here's what someone told me at the event named Rudy. Rudy said, go up on Discord. I've posted the pre-video, the one where he had just found the blaze. He's like, you can actually see it. And he says, I kind of like throwing stuff up on Discord just to see how long it takes people to figure out. Like, so it is up there. The video from before he found it, he actually has a video of it laying on the ground before he found it. And he put the minute mark in there and everything. So.
You know, Zoso in chat made a good point. He said, you know, I can't afford the cheapest thing in the chest, so it's not really for the surfers. I mean, it's gold, a lot of it. I get that. You know, if I'm an average Joe and I want to buy it, yeah, even the lowest thing like the gold dust, that got, you know, bid up, and it's going for what, 3 times what it should go for. That's part of an auction. I mean, the LLC is trying to make a profit at some point. They're a group of people, and they're not going to give it away. And it is unfortunate, but I mean, that's like saying it's unfortunate that even someone without a lot is able to eat and some people can't eat at all. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate,
Right.
but you're still going to eat. And if you have the money to buy it, you are going to buy it. And it is unfortunate, but that's how an auction works. You know, I'm sorry also to hear that. I mean, I want, and it's so well out of my range, I'm thinking, nope, not going to do it. I wanted to get that jar, but I know it's going to get pushed past 40, 50,000 easily. So what's the point?
You think so? That is just crazy to me. We'll see. I mean, it ends, the live bidding is Monday, right? So we're going to find out. So I think me and K-Pro may go live Monday, but we have somewhere to be Monday. So maybe when we get home, we'll check it out and see and go live and talk about it. But you know, with all the value that's on all that stuff, Sam, at least Forrest hid it out there for somebody to find it. We just didn't know you had to know about his father and about fishing holes in order to figure it out.
You know, they said at one point, some people, and I get it, when the chest was open, they said, that's underwhelming. But holy crap, when you see it all out there,
right?
It's not underwhelming, but
just the gold coins by itself. What a hell of a treasure. I mean, man, how can somebody complain about that dragon bracelet? Holy.
Well, let's be fair. Forrest put a picture on Dale's site with a whole bunch of other things. And I get it, it changed. You should still be grateful, but it's not like we invented this in our minds. Forrest gave a picture that had lots and lots and lots more stuff in it. So again, I'm not complaining, but it's not like Forrest set that expectation in our minds.
So there's still unanswered questions, and there's always going to be unanswered questions. What was the word that was key in the poem? We don't know. What was the deep digging treasure searcher using logic could figure out something out to the location? We don't know. What was the one thing he put in the chest that he never talked about, but somebody would really like it? That could be what's in the olive jar, possibly, but we don't know. And it's just what we got to live with. It was not a great, Lou B says the GPS is a better solve. I think so too, but it looks like GPS was not the solve. So.
Well, and Nemo was going to say something. Nemo, you
can...
you're all.
No, yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah. No, my only question is, did Forrest, was somebody required to go to Temple Library and find the microfiche and the newspaper as a lead to find the final location? Was that a requirement that he had built into the chase? You know what I'm saying? Because there's been no
I don't
other
think
way
he thought anybody was going to solve it. I don't think he thought anybody was going to solve it how Jack solved it. I think he thought they would figure out Madison Junction to the canyon, down, etc. I don't think he thought, that's my personal opinion. I think he was probably surprised to hear, oh, you solved it without really the poem at all. I mean, I don't think that was Forrest's intent. Go ahead, Tim.
Someone brought up a good point today. They said, okay, you guys find an article. Jack finds that article. He's married to 9 Mile, right? Then they said, but Jack said he figured out where Forrest wanted to die. I don't think we found that still. I mean, there has to be something else is what I mean. That I think Jack bypassed it a bit, or he kind of did a workaround. And he even said, Forrest made a slip. I figured out where he wanted to die. Well, okay. Well, there's the next mystery. Where do we go to figure out what convinced him that is where Forrest wanted to die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Rudy. Are you there? Oh, he's connecting. Let's talk a little bit about, we got about 15, 20 minutes with the, hey.
The stick man.
Stick man.
Hello.
Hello there, good sir.
Hey, Rudy.
Got the stick. He's got the replica chest. I don't know. Interesting.
he's got a coin from the treasure chest.
All right, let's see it. I know you just grabbed it. Is that it?
This is the coffin.
Wow, with lights and everything. That's so awesome.
Wow.
And then do you have your coin from the LLC? You're popular with everybody.
That's right. I forgot.
I have everything.
So what was your impression of viewing the treasure chest and its contents, Rudy? Everybody else kind of gave their thoughts. What do you think when you saw it in person finally?
Well, so I was a little bit concerned that having the replica chest would be like an influencing thing where I wouldn't get the full impact. But it wasn't. Like it was totally like seeing something for the first time, because you feel the implication of where this was and what it was. And that's kind of all in your head, but like it was, I don't think having the replica and seeing that beforehand hurt my experience at all. It was just like, wow, there it is.
Yeah, just between those couple inches of glass. Yeah, right.
And we were literally like within a couple inches of glass. I mean, it wasn't like it was set back or any of that. Some people are like, oh, the olive jar is huge. You guys we can read this, no problem. I had my camera on 30 times regular resolution. So the words are so clear in that video because I was like this far from it and I put it at 30 times. So it's small. You could not read it. I don't think I could read it just with the naked eye.
Now I haven't seen your videos or what you talked about yet because I've been working ever since I got. There's a lot to catch up on, I know.
Yeah, there's one video that I just took all the high res of any words I could see just because I know the internet sleuthers will put it in some magic software machine and we'll have all the words. And there's just videos of Temple all the way through to Dallas and then one of all the Heritage. I just took any picture I was given and put it up, 30 seconds for each picture. And it just kind of, for anyone that wants to go through it, it just kind of gives you a small snapshot of what we experienced. That's all it is.
So let me, there's two things I want to share. There's two people that have reached out that wanted me to share. And one is Christy B, you know, she's selling those, the things from the, that she created.
Yeah.
This was from the Hinman auction, right? These are the things she got from the Indian auction of Forrest Fenn stuff. So these are still available. She was on the show about a month ago. And I'm going to take this link and it's affordable, $40, $35. But the showcases that she made, the little shadow boxes with this running stick figure and the signature is really cool. So me and Christy have a couple of these and it's really cool stuff. So I will put the link to that.
And for those of you that don't believe people should actually make money, she is donating all of this to charity. So don't think she gets to eat off of this. She is donating it all to charity.
And the other one is I had a searcher just reach out before the show and he put up one of Forrest Fenn's books, which is The African Animals of W.R. Lay by Forrest Fenn, signed, limited edition. This is number 45 out of 100. He's got it starting bid at $500. I don't know what these would go for, but pretty cool stuff.
I have that. So I'd love to see what that goes for.
Right. So he says he's going to use it for boots on the ground, but I don't know if he meant Forrest Fenn related or a different trip. But this is Jim King. You guys know him. So yeah, there it is. And I will put the link to this in the chat as well. If anybody's interested in that book, check it out.
Well, and I know some people reached out to me and said, you guys need to go on live quickly because you are now representing the LLC and getting all and disseminating the information. I want to be clear. That's not what the expectation was for me. I mean, we got to go in and see things. Now we did get some time with the vice president and the marketing person. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I thought a lot of it was interesting and I don't think has been communicated in any way. Like there is live bidding on Monday, but there is not in-person bidding. I know they were trying to do that and there is no in-person bidding. Somebody that I reached out to said, didn't you already buy your ticket? And he's like, yeah, I did. So that's unfortunate. So they have changed their mind on that. They just said it was going to be too much on them to have in-person bidding. The other thing they said is they're going to be slowing down the auction because they have so many new people. It's almost like at Bally's for World Series of Fenn. The dealers are extra patient. They're going to be extra patient during this Heritage auction. I don't know what that means, if they're going to give a little bit more time or I don't know. Did you guys hear anything about that when Mr. Mayfield was speaking to it?
Not
no.
I heard what you heard.
Yeah, Brian, the technical guy, the IT guy that handles the actual website portion, he made no comment about the speed of the auction. The auctioneer will determine if things are going smoothly or too slow or too fast. And so whoever that person is will determine how fast from one coin to the next, one item to the next. So it'll vary. It'll speed up, slow down, no doubt.
Do we know if it's going to be live on YouTube like some of their other auctions are?
I don't know about YouTube, but yeah, it has to be live somewhere because that's how I don't know if it'll be on YouTube or not.
So Jeremy says the CIO, that's Chief Information Officer of Heritage, was a former searcher. He spent 3 days looking in New Mexico. He's in Discord if anybody wants to ask him.
I think that's Brian. He didn't say he was the CIO. He said he was from the IT department. So we spent some time with him.
That's the one you met?
No, he's the CIO.
Okay.
What I saw, at least yeah.
Well,
so he's the main technical guy, from what I understood.
He may not be the CIO, but he plays one in Discord. So, but you can still go ask questions. So, you know, he works for Heritage, you know.
Well, they did talk about the 5 coins when they put it through the authentication process. They're actually real gold, but they're stamped and they're very common to be whatever they were. It was like 2.5 and 5, and they were not US dollars. And they said it's just their policy, even though they know they could sell them, it's just their policy not to sell anything even if it is represented like this is not
So-
authentic. So it's still worth something probably to the LLC, but they are not able to sell them. There was 5 of those.
That means somebody took a real gold coin and tried to stamp it to make it look like a different gold coin that was worth more, that type
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, scammers out there. Okay.
Well, if you think about it, Forrest went to different gun shows. There's
Yeah.
300 coins in there.
Right.
Yeah, he got like less than 1% scammed. And yeah, I could see that.
So how many gold coins did Forrest Fenn have that didn't go in the treasure chest? That's what I want to know. Did he just hoard gold? Do we know? Has anybody ever asked him, or do we know, what he had somewhere in the vault? I wonder. He didn't put all of his gold in the treasure chest, I'm sure. So I just wonder what the family has, if there was a lot of stuff left over. Good for him. I mean, that's to put that in the treasure chest and do what he did. I mean, that takes some balls to to say, it's there. If you find it, you can keep it.
Yeah.
Or do whatever you want with it. So he
Rudy,
didn't
what was your
give
favorite
everything.
takeaway? What was I know you were doing like the stick. You're in there. I have a picture of you trying to get the stick lined up so you'd have a fun little picture to mess with people. So what was
Oh, I wouldn't mess with people, not me. My favorite takeaway was just the little whole impromptu searcher meetup. I mean, we were all there for, well, I was there for one whole day, or ended up being one whole day, but I wasn't even quite sure whether I was going to go, like right off the bat. Oh, it's last minute, we got to make some changes. And then Copper Dan messaged me and said he was going, and I was like, yes, there's other people that I'd like to meet and hang out with. Of the whole scope of the trip, like maybe you've already talked about this, like actually looking at the treasure was what, 30-40 minutes? Like it wasn't that long. We spent hours afterwards doing the real stories.
Yeah, and you hit the bar with Ben beforehand, and then we went to a couple of bars after, and then a poker tournament somewhere in there. Yeah.
Who won that? Who won the poker tournament?
Won that,
Did we-
yeah.
We ever
Yeah,
find
who
that
won
out?
that? Wonder who won that.
I don't know. Somebody's supposed to do a video about it, and I haven't seen the video yet, Ben, of who won the poker tournament. We had a little side bet as whoever, if Ben won, I had to do a video saying he was the greatest poker player ever, or vice versa. I'm not going to say who won, but
So speaking of poker tournament and searcher meetup, we have a little thing called the World Series of Fenn coming up in February. I hope all of you are going to be there. Rudy, you got plans on attending?
I will be there.
All right.
I'm not driving the van out this time, but I will
You fly in.
fly out and attend.
And Sam and Nemo, you plan on attending?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
already booked.
Awesome.
Already
So
same here.
what I would suggest is for all the searchers out there, if you see one of these 4 people at Bally's over the course of the 3-day weekend, you go up and you shake their hand and you buy them a drink. I mean, they flew out there. They did the work, especially Rudy with finding the location and finding the stick and everything else. The K-Pro, Sam and Nemo, they went to Texas. They went through the microfiche. They shared it with the community. I mean, I know some people don't like the answers, but I think it's beneficial and very nice that some people are out there still trying to find the answers, whatever they may be. So,
well, and that's why we put up all the articles that we found, because if there's something in one of these others that Jack found, and maybe it's a made up story or whatever, you have all the articles that we found, and maybe somebody could continue that on. We only got to like 79 or 80. Maybe there's something from 80 to 85 that actually names whatever location or whatever. So if you have it,
Right.
share, I think if you have it, share it. You don't have to, obviously, but I mean, somebody of course wanted us to know that they knew about this article first, and it's like, great, you didn't share it though, so I won't call you a turd, but just kidding.
And I'll tell you another thing too that I've run across. I talked to Greg Thompson, and he said, "Hey, I got a show coming up. Could you send me some pictures from inside there?" I said, "Absolutely." You know what I mean? I don't care who it is. If someone asks for it, okay, and this is not like it's something that to be hid from everybody. Anybody that asks me for that, I'd happily share it with them so that they could share it with everybody else. And that's why, I heard some people say, oh, the influencers get to go. But, the right people do the right thing. And anyone who's asked me for a picture of anything, I'm more than happy to send it to them.
Well, full disclosure, after I got my invite, and I did ask, are Sam and Nemo considered my +1, or can I have a +1? And I was able to have a +1. I invited Painted Face Greg, or Brutal Truth Greg. I asked him if he's able to come. First, I asked him if he got an invite, and it was really funny because he's like, why? And I'm like, okay, guard down because I'm inviting you. Would you like to be my +1? And he was a bit surprised. He's like, wow, thank you. He was not able to make it. I knew that Shiloh wasn't invited to the previous showing, so I invited Shiloh as well. He was on vacation, from what I understand, through Candy's messages. So I invited a few in my +1 to try to just, hey, the more the merrier. I know Rudy brought a +1, so I mean, we tried to get more than just, I don't know, or I
Rick
did.
shows up in a tuxedo with a corsage.
I should tell you the story behind my +1. Did you talk about how full press ended up there?
I said full press, but that's all I knew. Please tell the story.
Okay, so I've never met him before. I've engaged with him on Discord a few times. I recognize the name and whatnot. So I went over to the Embassy Suites bar. I actually walked there from the airport, which I don't recommend because it's like 4 or 5 miles, almost 2 hours. And so I started drinking a beer with Ben, and he walks up and sits next to us. And of course, the stick is sitting there. And if he didn't recognize us immediately, he knew that why we were there. But that was not, none of that was pre-planned. I guess he just lives nearby and decided to come out and hang out with some searchers. And I was like, well, why don't you come along with us and see if we can get you in? And it turns out that Heritage's process did not involve any checking of him. So he just walked in there with no realization ahead of time that he was going to get to see all this stuff. So basically, we were able to sneak in somebody who was not on any list, didn't RSVP to anybody, no credit checks, nothing.
And I had all that done. Even Sunday night, they sent, you only put we need your driver's license, make sure to include the back. We needed copies of it. And I will tell you, I still had my account suspended on Tuesday. And I'm like, can you guys please? I said, you have everything. I know you've run, somebody did a hard credit check and my credit went down a little bit on Monday. I said, but I'm still excellent rating. Can you guys please look into it? And on yesterday, they said, and I called Mike. I'm like, Mike, can you check? And he said, yes, he checked. And I now have an account. But it's interesting because some of us went through credit applications, social security numbers, credit checks, etc. And some people literally weren't even on the list and walked right in with nothing more than their name.
Well, speaking of the list, Stuck in Chase Landay had a good question. Does anybody know of anybody who's going all this week? If you were a high bidder, you could have went. Does anybody know of anybody that was a high bidder that went and got in? I don't
know of anybody who went, but the guy from Heritage commented in Discord that some other people had made appointments and he'd made an effort to meet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and let me tell this story, Mike. So Mike really did sacrifice. And if you guys don't know, his father passed away. We knew that it was close and we are all sorry and love you, Mike and Mama Cowlazars. But it was a huge sacrifice for me to leave at the timing I did. And I'm on my way back and I knew once he's like, I need a favor. And I'm like, he could ask for anything right now because he really did sacrifice for me to break me away. He's like, I want to buy 14 long box, blah, blah, blah. And here, let me just show you. Here's my master bedroom.
Is going through these over Christmas.
That's my master bedroom right now. I'm like, really? I said, of course, because of this, but that's the only time. Like, if you'd ask me now, next week, no, but during that time, of course. So
that's it.
Anything else that Mayfield said? He talked about the fake coins. He talked about no live bidding, slowing it down. Where is I have a set of notes. Sammy laughed at me because I had where did my notes go?
We don't need no notes.
I do notes at the end of every night. That's why. Nice. That's how you remember little details. Not anything big, just like.
We mean of the trip while you were out there. I got you.
Yeah, and I don't know where my notes went. I don't know if. Someone asked how long is he going to keep how long is Heritage keeping the dragon bracelet and treasure chest? And he said he does not know yet. They haven't worked that out. They're just working the auction at this point. It was interesting though, when you guys watch the video, you go through the first set of doors and that door has to shut before the next door opens. So like if you tried to like steal something and run out, you're only making it through one door and that door has to close before the next door is allowed to open.
Pretty cool.
Hey, Christy, did they talk about it? I don't remember. I didn't ask. if they said if there's a reserve for any of the items?
They didn't say.
Okay.
I wasn't a part of that part of the conference. Oh, and this was interesting. So Copper Dan was going around talking to everyone saying, did you get to meet Jack? Did you get to meet Jack? Because he's like, he wears it like a badge, like I got to meet Jack guy. And so he asked Brian, I guess the CIO, Brian, did you get to meet Jack? And he said, no, but I did do a Zoom with him, which I just thought was super interesting. Like maybe they got far enough along in the process that they were talking to the, but why the CIO? That I just thought that.
Don't you think it would have been when to arrange the initial treasure chest and contents going to Heritage auctions back then?
So you're talking to the CIO? Like he told me that he was brought in just because he used to be a searcher, like, and that's why he was kind of in, but I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
That gets a snap. I can't believe I wasn't going to say anything because I didn't know if I was supposed to or not. But yeah, I heard that.
Oh, I think we can put anything out that we heard. And I'm going to give such credit to Rudy. There may have been a tense moment later in the night between two people that maybe were at odds, that maybe were coming back together and there was some loud voices. And Rudy was gone. He was like, see you guys. And he went straight to the bar to like, just be chill. I thought it was great. Like as a gun, I wanted to be with you guys. So
Jeremy says basically setting up the Zoom call would be under the job description of the CIO, Chief Information Officer. That's pretty funny. And could
you have
be
to, okay, I even know how to do a Zoom. You really have to have the CIO involved to be able to set up a Zoom.
It had to be from the ultra secure location of Jack in Puerto Rico, though, so it wasn't easy.
Whatever.
Or wherever he was.
Whatever.
You know what though, Mike, with all the different personalities there, when you got us all around a deck of cards, they got along pretty good.
Always had, same as the World Series of Fenn. It just happens that way. We will have the poker chips, I'm sure, for up in the room for World Series of Fenn.
I did save one video and I was gonna try to show it tonight, but Ben's not here. We actually had Ben believing at the bar. So Nemo had bought 2 coins early just to see how a Heritage auction worked, and he brought them. So when Ben walked into the bar, I had one and Nemo had one, and we said, look, everybody got one. And Ben believed it. And because we didn't tell him anything, he looked at it, he's like, that's dope. And you could see he was like, there was a little bite behind that. And we didn't tell him for like an hour. Like he thought we had coins. We'd all been given a coin. I thought
that's pretty mean to do.
Yeah.
Not really. We took turns busting butt the entire day. We had a great time.
Oh, he should have been. He should have been ribbed a little for not going inside. I didn't understand that at all. But whatever. That was
that's the other person, Ben. I didn't know his situation of why or whatever. So I said, Ben, be my +1. Just come in with me. And he was like marching out front and whatever. Yeah.
Marching. It's funny.
Yeah.
So this is not breaking news in that sense, but I actually just got an email while we were talking.
Oh.
I had set up my flights that I was thinking of getting for World Series of Fenn, and I got the email from Google Flights that says that they've dropped by 50%. I think that's a sign.
The flights to Vegas? Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
They just went down half the price of what they were.
Wow.
Sweet. So rebook it. Maybe if you got a reservation, you could rebook it and get it cheaper.
Well, I hadn't booked them yet. I just put them in a tracker a couple days ago, and now they're now it's time to buy them.
We hope it's a good turn. You know, this really will be the last year, I think, for the World Series of Fenn. And what I mean by that is once the treasure's sold, it's kind of over, right? I mean, unless somebody does something with it.
No, there's epicness coming. Shiloh told Candy, who told YouTube, who told us. It's true. And thank you, Candy, for sharing it. But I joke a little because there's epicness. Okay, look, who is that going? Wait, why don't you just come in? Come on.
Sit down, sir. Don't make me tase you.
No, that was me.
So let me ask you this, because somebody did ask this in the chat. What do you think the eventual buyer of the olive jar will do with it? Any ideas?
Depends on who gets
that is. What's that?
Depends on who gets it.
It all depends on who gets it. I have a feeling whoever buys it, we're just never going to know who it is, and we're never going to hear from them again. But I hope not, but that's a possibility, right?
So I think if the family gets it, I think the family will share most, if this is a guess, would share most of it, except for if anything's super private. I think if a network buys it, I've heard a couple of them are in the game. I think they would save it for their Netflix or whatever. I think if a searcher buys it, it's either share it with everyone or share it with no one kind of thing.
Somebody brings it to World Series of Fenn, I think we all need to do a shot of tequila out of it, right?
There you go.
It's like the brandy. It's like the brandy thing. Jackie knows.
Or Jack Daniels, either way. Let's go for our walks. That's not fair. We can't make it this year. We'll cancel whatever you got going on. Matt Perrin, our buddy Matt, he says he's on a cruise. I'm like, well, cancel your cruise. Cancel it. It's World Series of Fenn. It's only once a year. But we will always do a meetup. What I was going to allude to earlier is we will always do a meetup, even if we change the name to something else. There'll always be a yearly meetup in Vegas for all the treasure searchers in the Treasure Hunt Amusement Park. So we talked about changing the name, K-Pro. I think we should do it next year, not this year.
Okay.
Because it's not enough time to change it. So anyway. Because we don't know who's going to get all the pieces yet. So I hope everybody out there who's bidding can win something, whether it's gold
So
dust.
any guesses of the epicness that Shiloh is talking about? What do you think? Or epicness in the jar? I think Nomadic Madman, you're assuming it's in the jar. I think Shiloh said long ago he was going to make right by the searchers. I know that he has been very intrigued and engaged with searchers. So I think when he says epicness, he said that he was writing a book, and he told me personally, I'm not going to go on any conjecture here. He told me personally that several chapters in his book, Forrest wrote before he died. So I don't know what it'll say. I don't know anything more than what he said to me. And I think that would be, now, is that the level of epic, or is he going to put out that, Forrest knew DB Cooper or his family was related to, I don't know. I just think it'll be something like that. And I don't think Shiloh is held to the same thing as his grandfather of he can't put out the location. I don't know if he will or won't put out the location. I think he could, but then people will still not believe it because it wasn't Forrest that said it. So whatever. What do you guys think?
I'm going to vet every single bit of information probably for the rest of my life. I mean, until it may be a video or something from the family. But I'll vet every bit of information I get. I actually believe Jack was looking there. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. So what's the rest of the story though? He said it's half the story. I'd love to hear the other half. We'll see. There's so many things about 9 Mile Hole. I wish you could just go 1 through 9 and they were all clear as day. If we have the spot, give me the one.
But
I would like.
Sorry, go ahead, Nemo.
No, I would like to know that it was solvable, that this clue did indeed lead to this place, and that there is a logic behind his
Well, and I think
solution.
if you go up to Hint of Riches and you look at Vertigo, Must Listen Good, and Ruby, they make a pretty compelling case before the treasure was found of here is a solve of 9 Mile Hole going from Madison Junction all the way through. I mean, there's a little bit of conjecture of what is, heavy loads and water high or that kind of thing. There's two confluences that come together. There is a canyon. There is, it's not that complicated or far-fetched. I think there's actually the opposite. It's very straightforward and very almost simplistic, if that's the right word. Right, Rudy?
Humble.
Yeah, humble.
The only way in my mind that it could ever be put to rest is if that video is showing a Forrest going over the clues. Maybe that's what Shiloh meant. I don't know. But I think that's the only way. If there is such a video, share it publicly and let people watch it and make their own decision. But if I see a video of Forrest Fenn saying 9 Mile Hole, it's Madison Junction, Canyon Down, 9 Mile, I'm going to believe it. I mean, why would I not believe it? So
And some people have said absolutely not. That's just because he had to hire Jack and he already had to make up those emails. So,
but all of that doesn't matter. That's where he hit it, whether Jack found it or it was given away or Forrest retrieved it. None of that matters to me. I just want to know what the clues meant. And if there's a video of Forrest going over the clues, that's what I would need to say, okay, well, that was it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. And I probably would say, well, then Forrest, you lied about a couple of things. What do you mean no specialized knowledge? But that is what it is.
Well, and I think everybody has their tipping point, because I remember when we did the video of Madison Junction having the only touch table anywhere in Yellowstone. And then when you look at the please do not touch whole excerpt out of TTOTC, they're like, that did it for me. It was so interesting to me that did it more than all the other evidence that we had up to that point. But having that touch table there was enough for that person. There's just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more each time. That's all.
We forgot to ask the heritage searcher what his opinion was on the soul. I wonder if he's a log denier or if he's a one true solver. Or
I know he searched down in New Mexico, he said. So I said, wrong state. I knew he searched down south.
Somebody ask him in Discord if he's coming to World Series of Fenn. Maybe we can actually meet him.
Nemo's actually on video telling them about it.
It'll be gone by then, so he should be able to show up, talk to everybody, I would think.
Yeah, I have his email. I'll shoot him an email if he's willing.
That'd be
to.
cool. You know, if he showed up, maybe he could tell us some stories of how it went down at Heritage and all the issues they had.
Yep.
That would be cool.
That would be a cool backstory. Hopefully it's no longer an issue that he can discuss it and just kind of show it. Because he said it was the hardest thing in the world. It was there since, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christy, was it July or September?
Of this year or last year?
Of this year. The chest has been there.
Oh, the chest has been there for like a year, over a year now.
Because Jack had it appraised there, so he sent it a while ago to get
I
appraised.
think that was when the whole entity thing happened. It was already there at Heritage.
So how do you think it was transferred from the vault in Santa Fe to Heritage? I mean, somebody drove it. Did they wrap it and like seal it? I mean, air freight. I mean, how do you transfer it to Fenn's treasure? That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, I would assume it was insured and like, I don't know, a Brinks truck or
How much do you insure it for? I mean, those are problems you have when you're the finder, I guess.
$1 million.
$1 million, $2 million, $3 million.
I do think it was clever that they divided up the gold the way they divided it up. I wouldn't have ever thought slab a little speck and slab the dust and slab the, it was, and then a bunch of the smaller ones. I just thought, they thought through it. I don't think there's been a lot of bumps, but they seem to have thought through that portion of things.
Well, K-Pro can attest to this. When I first heard that they were going to split it up, I thought, well, that's stupid. Why would you take a vial of gold dust? But now I understand. So everybody has a chance. Now it's a good idea. Now that I see it in action on the auction, I like it. I think it was a good idea. And I will say this, is there is a searcher who is doing his own $50,000 treasure hunt. He says the book is coming out in 2 weeks. So we'll definitely have him on the show to get the details on that. He's a searcher that was actually in the paper regarding the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, I believe in Kentucky a year or two ago.
Is that Bart?
No, Chris Dotson.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have him on the show and get all the details for what he's got coming out. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. So just a heads up to everybody. If you're interested in something else, maybe Forrest Fenn inspired, we'll see. So, okay, we're at an hour. Has anybody got some closing thoughts? Thank you guys.
I appreciated the opportunity. I did not think, I do dislike the word influencers because I don't feel like we had any more of a input or anything in this hunt than anyone else. I just think we were selected to come and see it. I appreciate the opportunity. I still have my own opinions about some things happening. And I, like when they said there's no live, no in person, it's like, well, is someone going to get that information out? I think they need a VP of communications there. That would help a little bit. But I thought the meetup was great. Like as usual, you get there, you have a great time talking with crazy fellow treasure hunters. I was appreciative. And I was so appreciative of Sam and Nemo. We did the temple thing and it was just so chill and then so research focused. We all did different things. It was really, really good.
Great trip. I really enjoyed it.
Respect the auction.
Yeah, same here.
Now I have to go to Yellowstone and make the trip, I guess. K-Pro's been there, so we have to go back at some point. K-Pro, huh?
You've
Next
been
summer,
there. I've been to Wambach.
9 Mile Hole, the actual spot.
Oh,
Yeah, what do you think I'm at? Yeah, I'd have to go to the actual spot.
I thought you said you hadn't been to Yellowstone.
No.
What
I
about
don't know
everybody?
when, but I'd like to, if we were up there for some other reason, I'd definitely go and make the trip, say I did it. And then I come back and I'm like, that wasn't it. That doesn't make any sense at all. No. All right. Anybody else before we wrap it up? We hope to see everybody at World Series of Fenn where we can talk in person and We'll have a lot to talk about, especially if the people who win some of the auctions actually come out and say, hey, look, I won this one. That would be cool. But we'll see if anybody does that.
Doug has asked, how late do you expect the auction to last? From what I've heard, each of them are at least 10 minutes. They'll probably slow it down to 15. And there's let's just say 350 items, 400 items, 376. So 400 times
That's got to be
15
spread
minutes.
out over multiple days then, right?
Did they say it was going to be 15 minutes, Christy?
No, they
This is
said
when-
10, but they were going to extend it for our group because they wanted to go a little
Really?
slower to make sure that,
Wow.
you know, there weren't any issues. But so if we just do, hold on. If we just do,
Brian over in Discord from Heritage, he ballparked, said he figured around 4 hours. But obviously
That's
that
it?
could fluctuate, you know, either
Okay.
direction.
Hmm.
So it
You
sounds
let's
like
just say it was 10
a
minutes
little over
at
100 an hour.
But you got to
370.
remember, not each one, whatever the highest bid is currently, when they go live, if that doesn't get bid up, well, that's over. Going once, going twice, $400. It's done. You go to the next one. So not each one is going to take 10 to 15
But
minutes.
something doesn't make sense then. They can't do 10 minutes each one because that would be 62 hours if it's just 10
Yeah.
minutes. So
Marathon.
Yeah.
if he said
The,
like 4 hours, are they only like a minute or two long then?
Well,
I think-
the ones online, they were going, what, 15, 20 seconds there, Sam?
Oh,
Right. Yeah, I was shocked at how quick the ones we
oh,
watched.
maybe I missed. I thought it was 15 or 20 minutes, not 20
No,
No,
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah.
Oh.
Seconds.
And when someone outbids you for the one we saw at least, and they were coins, you got about 4 or 5 seconds to decide if you're going to outbid or not, or that coin's
There's a
going
count. There's a countdown. Once the countdown's over, if you haven't hit that little bid button with your pre-selected amount, it's over. And so there's quite a bit of automation. You know, there's nobody with a gavel sitting there waiting. It's all automated. So
they don't extend it if somebody bids at the last minute, last second.
Right.
They don't extend it.
if
no?
they do, you got the timer there, and obviously technology. If it's a split second before it closes, then you'll get another 15 seconds,
Yeah, so
and it'll count down.
Doug asked him, what order will the items be auctioned? Low to high, high to low? I don't know. Like, this is where LLC, I think, would do a really, they would help themselves a lot if they got somebody to help with explaining, or maybe just a tutorial, something. I talked to Nelica, who's been there quite a bit. Oh, why doesn't the LLC partner with Packer Jack? He works with Heritage a lot, and maybe they could come up with a joint video that goes over it, because we want to be all inclusive to bringing everyone in. Now, there's some people that have this expertise. I don't know what order they're going in. Usually, what order do they go in? Do they go by lot number? That's what I would assume,
Yes.
but it's a total guess. I have no idea.
But currently total
Yeah,
bids
they'll-
are just shy of $484,000. 484,000. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to go over $1 million, but I could be wrong. We'll see.
If you watch the other Heritage auctions, which I assume other people have done if they're serious about bidding on something, they're always auctioned in the lot order. So it starts with the earliest lot numbers, which in the case of the Forrest Fenn hunt will be, I think, 5 large gold nuggets, and you're going to end with the jar.
See, and now David Crump says auctions always go from low to high. The highest item always goes last. What world do you guys live in? So I don't know. I was going to say Rudy's world. I agree with Rudy, but maybe we live in a different, I don't know. Or I would just think maybe if kind of like at World Series of Fenn, we know that a lot of people have never played before. So Mike does a little tutorial that goes over it, a couple of hours, just how to play poker, poker etiquette, those sorts of things. I would think that would be, I know some people have opted out of this because they're so frustrated with the process and then what happens. I would just shore that up and communicate that. That's all. Nope, it's lot number stuck in Chaselandia says. So there you go, David Crump. Stuck in Chaselandia is on my planet with Rudy.
So I just accidentally bid 20,000 on the olive jar. No, I'm just
I'm
kidding.
in for half, Mike. I'm in for half.
That'd be hilarious. I can put 100 grand in it right now. What do you guys think? No intention of buying it.
You might
We
want to
need to
read their fine print first, because they will
Right.
still come after you for a chunk of that.
Yeah, they're gonna get their money, even if you say, "Oh, I don't want it now." They're gonna come after you.
This isn't the first time somebody's thought of that idea.
I
I'm
know.
sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Janice
above
says,
it-
don't worry though, you're going to get outbid.
Yeah,
I think
that's
above a certain amount, they require like 20% down. I think if
Only-
on just the bid.
Only to me, it seems. They said they may require me to have, now they haven't said that now that they actually ran my credit and unlocked my account, they said they may. Now they're not doing that. They did do a hard run or someone did a hard run on my credit after I gave them all my credit information on Sunday. I should have just found Rudy at the bar. That's how I should have rolled.
That was a good time. Huck Finn even showed up,
Yep.
and a couple others, I think.
Oh, and by the way, we found out it's not the Huck Finn. That person is Huck Finn. I guess there were two names with Huck Finn in it. Same person. Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, this is the part, Copper Dan says, sorry, I couldn't make the show tonight. My daughter's band concert just got out. 2 freaking hours of agonizing. Oh, Copper Dan, 2 awesome hours of watching my daughter perform is what
all
it
the
says.
other kids that are horrible, not his kid. The frog is at 8,500, K-Pro. Gold frog's at 8,500. If somebody told me that would have been the price, I would never have. This is going to go a lot more than I ever would have thought.
Bid 9 on it, Mike.
9,000. See what 9,999 for the 9 clues.
Yeah.
Stuck in
Golden Nuggets.
Chaselandia said, if I had an account for a prior heritage auction, do I need to qualify specifically for the Fenn auction? We don't know. Everybody's treated differently, it
didn't.
seems, and there's no consistency.
I
don't
didn't.
know.
I've had an account for 5 years and I didn't. So
Yeah. And Mike bid on almost 100 items. He's been outbid on all of them, but he
it's
bid on
only
100 items.
It's only
And he
100
didn't
bucks.
get nailed. I got hit. Well, anyway, whatever. I don't think it's the LLC. I had all the conspiracy mind, and then I just thought, no, this is like Heritage on opening day. It just has been a little bit of a crazy show.
That
And
necklace
let's
you're
remember
talking
that
about is at 87.
Heritage would be the authoritative source on how these auctions are run, even over whatever the LLC might say. So most of these questions, if somebody, I think, could be figured out from Heritage directly.
Oh yeah, of course. I don't
I
think
just
they're
think
going to
if they're
alter
really
anything.
trying to leverage the buying power of the Fenn part of it, I think they need to do a little bit more, or maybe LLC, Heritage, whoever, someone should do a little bit more. They're sitting on Discord talking privately, like, because Discord's not with it. It just seems like they should do a little bit. Maybe they do a tutorial and they send it to Discord that then it'll get out everywhere. It just seems like if they're spending time sitting in a Discord, that maybe they should help a little bit. And LLC was doing the same thing. And I just think I would have used my time a little bit differently. I don't have the treasure chest, but people are walking away because they're frustrated or they don't understand the process. I think it would have helped to communicate that a little. And I still do think it will help if they communicate, because there's tons of questions like this. So whoever the answer is, that's where I think they should answer some of those questions. But
Sure. I don't disagree with you. I'm just reminding people that Heritage would be the one that actually knows with certainty how those aspects of their auction works. And that's, I don't care how, if somebody owns the chest or how credible they are with that connection to it, Heritage would be the one that would be authoritative on that.
That's
I don't know if
correct.
they have videos, but there is some tutorials on there that walk you through the bidding process. I found the new live proxy thing to be a little bit confusing at first.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't something I was expecting or had read up on. But that sort of makes sense now too. They have different ways to create a strategy for your own bidding style.
That's exactly. And now that things kind of move back and forth, and what they're like, Mike and I made a strategy based on there was going to be a last live day. There was no reserve. Then there was kind of a reserve wording for a little bit. And then that was like, that would change our strategy altogether. And now it's just like, I don't know, we'll talk Sunday and say, what do you want to do?
Yeah, we do need to get together and talk about it for sure.
So I had a question, like something maybe the LLC may consider, is that there's a philanthropic angle that has been mentioned in this, that they want to do something that searchers themselves can have a piece of the treasure. Is there any way, or has there been any discussion about limiting the number of items that somebody can win? How many, like to 5, right? So if you're really wealthy, you could buy the whole damn thing and nobody else would be able to get anything, right?
True.
So that the potential is that if you limit the number of items one account can buy, then it still opens the door for other people to still be able to afford some of the items.
Logistically, that would be, I see your point, but like I would have one, Mike would have, you know how many people would have spoof accounts?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Highest bidder gets it.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting Monday. Hopefully they show it where we can go live and we can all watch it in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully on YouTube. That would be pretty cool. But we'll see.
Yes.
That they go live on YouTube with the auction.
Yeah, the gold will go for at least spot price. I
It's going to
agree.
go for much more than that.
Yeah, like the
Yep.
gold dust is going for 3 times spot price already. And so it's just other stuff not bid up yet. I know some searchers have, yeah.
All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it. Thanks for being on. Thanks for going. Everybody get ready to watch the auction on Monday. If you're bidding, good luck. We hope you win something. Gold dust to the olive jar and everything in between. We hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas. We will go live next week. I'm sure we'll probably go live Monday night and talk about the auction as well. So we'll probably be live Monday night, our normal time, if not earlier. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope to see everybody at World Series of Fenn. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Copper Dan, you'll have to make it next time. He said good night from Dallas. All right, everybody. We'll see you.
All right, good night.
Good night. Good night.
Hi, guys.
Everybody.